there, everybody. This is Shauna Mayfield with Theraphase Biofield Tuning. I am making this video today all about biofield tuning. I want to explain to you what it is, what the biofield is, why would you need to have a biofield tuned. Really just talk to you a little bit about my background, just briefly. Mostly, I want to focus on explaining to you all about the structure of your biofield. Stay tuned. All right, let's get into it. My name is Shauna Mayfield. As I said, I am a biofield tuning practitioner. Last year, I became certified through Eileen Day McCusick's biofield tuning practitioner courses. The reason why I came into this work is not one simple answer, but I will say that life has an interesting way of reorganizing things for you and showing you the raw essence and truth of who you are. And that is what happened with me in 2020. So many people's lives got shaken up that year. And for my family, we went through a wildfire. What that left me with was this core essence of what I actually truly valued and wanted to do in this body, on this planet, at this time. So I immediately set out to replace books that I had lost in the fire. My favorite ones happens to be all about energy healing. And so that was really helping me understand what was the next step for me. I needed it for myself to be able to heal through that traumatic event and come through and out of it, as I still am currently processing. That's how I got into biofield tuning. I listened to Eileen Day McCusick on a podcast, and I was very attracted to the linguistics she was using in describing the way we can work with energy in the body. She's very neutral in her words and her language. There's not a lot of dressing on top of it. I think she has done such a fantastic job at bridging these two communities of spirituality and science together to have this conversation about bringing ether back into our cosmology, our worldview, our perception of reality. And so, yeah, she's talking about plasma physics and ether and using tuning forks to modulate energy fields. I was hooked. I bought her books. Let's see, we've got the Electric Body, Electric Health, and Tuning the Human Biofield. So I spent 2 years reading and rereading and studying this material. I also bought tuning forks from her line. These are medical grade tuning forks that have a very, very long handles, and they sustain the tone really well. Anyway, so I spent a couple years playing around with these forks, chasing around my family members and my cats and dogs and seeing what was going on. And it took me a minute to really determine that, like, I needed to have some more type of training to really understand what I was doing. And so I signed up for her foundational course, took that, and spent some time with it, and really decided that this was so beautiful to me, to be able to not only learn how to use these forks to help myself and modulate my own electrical system, but then how to bring that to other people as well. It's been such an amazing process for myself. I'm still going through a lot of transformational processes in becoming more confident in making videos like this and just being in front of people in general. I'm sure some of you can relate. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I was really kind of living out in this isolated life, very content with that hermit sort of lifestyle on a farm homesteading for the last 20 years. But with the fire, everything just came down. And and now here I am. I get to share biofield tuning with all of you, and I love it. So let's get into what the biofield is. What is subtle energy, and why in the world would you need to do this tuning stuff, right? What is this all about? Okay, subtle energy. This is all kind of what I've gathered, right? Now you got to come to your own conclusions as well in this, and do your own studying, of course, and get into these subjects and really feel subtle energy. What is it? You have to have the curiosity and desire and interest to understand that aspect about yourself and the cosmos and everything. That alone will teach you so much. But the simplest explanation, and I've heard Eileen say this, and I really like it, is that it's a diffuse magnetism. But it's more than that, obviously. And so when you start looking into ether and plasma and the physics of that, we start to understand that matter is actually condensing out of the ether, and everything condenses out of the ether through this spin and torsion spin. And it's just a spectrum, and our bodies are, and the earth itself is the density, the densest aspect of that, this matter and form. But everything comes from this vibrational blueprint, this template out of the ether that condenses into plasma. And then you go through the different elements. And so you can see this as a spectrum. That's how I see it. And with that, you can look at how energy moves in spins and creates these toroids. And then you can think about fractals and sacred geometry. You can consider the connectivity between stars and planets and the sun and our solar system all being interconnected through electricity and magnetism, the magnetic field. And then there's this etheric field going on that is very much structured. It's not soupy. There's sacred geometry that plays into that. Then we can also understand how energy systems are fed through the toroid. So plasma will feed into systems, feeding into the stars, feeding into the centers of galaxies, and then it also is ejected. Now, I'm not an expert, obviously, and I might not be explaining this perfectly, but it's interesting to study it, and you should look into it yourself, because this really does apply to the way the biofield is structured. And that is what Eileen Day McCusick has brought to the table here. Is this whole substance to the edge of the field. And that is because of what plasma does. It creates its own cells. It creates a double layer sheath membrane around the outer edge. And it's because of the bidirectional flow of current coming in here, coming up through here, this ascending and descending current, creating this bidirectional flow of current on the outer edge. And so this is detected. The magnetic field of the sun was detected, and it ran, because of this boundary. And so when we apply that to the structure of the biofield, we now have this northern and southern pole of the toroid that is your aura, your energy field. And in biofield tuning, we call these points the sun star and the earth star. And they are simply energy centers. They basically capture energy coming up from the earth and send it up through the central channel of your biofield. It is up here at the sun star, connected to our sun and whatever other lights and stars you want to connect to. And it brings and draws that down through a descending current through this sun star energy center, which then flows through the energy body down through the central channel. This is creating the toroid of your energy field. And so this is just an example of one of the layers, but you can see how this would have 2 layers and then creating this band out here, double layer membrane. So plasma is fascinating and interesting, and I have a great curiosity about it. And so I appreciate Eileen for bringing this information forward in such a way that it's just straightforward and stripped down of all the other sort of fluffy language that can come through with these topics that might push people away and make it seem like that's so weird, that's so spooky action at a distance. What is that, But really, we need to start looking at this in terms of part of the actual fabric of reality. And so this is a huge shift in our paradigm to start thinking this way. And so we want to think of ourselves also in this way, as our bodies are electric. We run electricity through the body. We are connected to source energies, and that is flowing through us all the time. And we have access to this energy through different means and different modalities, but you have to have the desire and intention to pull more of that flow through yourself so that you can be stable. Okay, so that's kind of a general idea of the biofield and the structure of it and what is it made of. Subtle energy is basically just the finer diffuse aspect of the spectrum of this plasma and ether. So the biofield is actually so much more than the structure. So what's in it and what is it composed of? This is also part of what Eileen's work explains. She gets into the anatomy of the biofield, which is also one of her working theses. The working thesis is that we can access the information field of your biofield and modulate it and repattern it so that this is all flowing in coherence. What happens to our biofields is that it gets stressed out when we get under stress. It's different types of stress. There's the environment itself with all of the frequency netting going around on the planet. There's that. There's also just the toxicity of food, air, water, all these things go into what might cause your biofield to get out of whack. And so we're like an instrument. We are a musical instrument. We all have our own song and we have our own melody and harmonics that we're contributing to in this overall song that's going on with the whole planet, which is going on with the whole solar system and universe. And so with biofield tuning, we are bringing ourselves into this presence of coherence. Presence of coherence. How does it work? How does biofield tuning work? What is the logistics of what we're doing here? So with biofield tuning, we are using tuning forks to listen, kind of like a needle on a record. We are listening to the information in the field, and the forks will pick up on any kind of distortions and nodes of trauma, or it's a language. So what I have found with the tuning forks is that over time, and what Eileen teaches, is that you really want to practice deep listening to what you are noticing, not only coming from the forks themselves, but then also what you're noticing in your body as it is reflecting it back. Because what naturally wants to happen when your body is hearing any of those nodes of distortion is that it wants to auto-tune and come into harmony. And that's the beautiful part about it, is that you're not working so hard to make these adjustments, because the forks are doing that work. Your role in receiving a biofield tuning session is to notice yourself in the present moment and notice what is coming up as the field is being modulated. And this may bring up emotions, sensations, memories, all kinds of things can happen in a biofield tuning session. And we are to be present with it during the session, and experiencing an inner sensory awareness of where things are locked up in the body, and allowing yourself to be with it and breathe through the process of it coming into modulation. So we have this biofield anatomy map that we use with biofield tuning that helps us understand the patterns of information that are held around the body. This is Eileen's work that she discovered over her 25 years of practicing in the field and taking studious notes and really trying to understand what was going on. And then going through the process of teaching other people, having them practice the technique and method, and then also finding that these patterns are indeed found in the same way that you would find eyes and ears and all the anatomical positions on a body, and the same for each person. So for a tuning session, we would open things up by preparing your body to receive a session. And I would use, if you were in the room with me or doing it by distance, would probably begin by using these forks here. They are weighted forks, and I would be putting them on the body in various different positions, acupressure points, starting from the feet all the way to the crown. And this is to help you focus your consciousness through the different parts of your body. And it helps to start you really getting into the alpha theta brainwave state, super relaxed, and just deeply starting to sense yourself in your body and what is happening, noticing. So that's how we open. I would then go through an adjustment of your Earth star and your sun star, opening up the central channel and helping your biofield get ready to receive an adjustment from the field. So before we adjust in the field, I'll use a pendulum to determine the best angle of approach, just checking in with each of the energy centers, the feet, the knees, all the way up to the crown. And then we will focus in on what area is showing the greatest imbalance. And so I will then move into adjusting the field and what we call field combing. And so the first thing I'll do is use the fork to sense where that outer edge is of your biofield. And I can feel it in the fork, I can hear it, I can sense it. There is a definite edge. And when I encounter the edge, there's information there, just in the outer edge. And so I'll explain to you next what that is. On the outer edge of your field, which is generally your whole field is going to be 5 to 6 feet. Some people say it's only 3 feet. Whatever, it could be either way. But the point is that on this outer edge is going to contain information relating to your conception, gestation, and birth. And if you remember what I was talking about with this double layer membrane, that is specifically the information band that contains that. So on the very outer edge, conception, the interior in between is gestation, and then on this inner band is the birth experience. So sometimes we can encounter information that's preconception. And this would be information relating to the environment and of the culture around the mother and where she was and what was going on in the world and her home environment and her body prior to conception. So you can get information out there. Sometimes that comes up. But generally, we're going to sense into the overall kind of tone of what's happening out here. And so say I got that the throat wanted to be worked on, I would make sure that when I'm out in the field, I'm angled and in a position where I am looking over at the it's hard to explain, looking over at the person at the throat and kind of working in to the field, angling in towards that throat energy center. So combing through the field, the forks are going to encounter different areas of perturbations where it becomes like it'll reflect what's going on there. There's so much information in the field where we don't necessarily pick up every tiny little thing that ever happened. It's more about yielding to the body's intelligence and yielding to what wants to come and be surfaced and noticed and seen and modulated at that session's time. So there's a lot of trusting in the process of what we're feeling. And so I will come through and pick up information through my own sensory pathway informations of my body, emotions, words and visuals, and just in general sensing, but also from the fork itself, reflecting vibration and tonal qualities. So, for example, a fork might sound like it's screaming really loud or shrieking and piercing tones. It's like screeching, scraping, or it might sound like it's grinding underneath and there's this grit to it. Sometimes it sounds like velvet, smooth silk, and like perfect, like that beautiful open tones, full spectrum, high tones, low tones, mid tones, and it's so open. Sometimes it sounds like it's got like one of these on it, like a sock on it or something, like it's just so muted and undertoned, there's not any, so it can sound like it's missing tones. And this starts to over time develop as like understanding a language. So that's kind of cool, kind of fun to understand that language. And I'm still learning and understanding. And if you listen to any of Eileen's videos, go on YouTube and listen. She has so many on there, and start listening to her and how she's able to read information. I mean, she's been doing it for so long. She's just really tuned into the language of the tuning forks. And so I'm listening, but I'm also communicating with the client as they're on the table and listening to their own body. I will ask them in different places what they're noticing based on where the fork is. If I encounter a node that's really ringing, I'm asking them, what are you noticing right here? And where are you sensing this in your body? Where's this vibrating in your body? What is it bringing up for you? And it's just to help guide them into their own experience of awareness, of self-awareness. And so we can get into sort of a dialogue back and forth. Sometimes people want to be really, really quiet about it and not share what's going on, and that's perfectly fine. Some people are very open and very, very sensitive to everything around them and want to share. It's not about that. And we can get into more of that at another time, how the details of sessions. But that's the general idea, is that we are I am coming through the field. I'm combing inside, coming towards the body and listening, and the forks are doing the work. They pick up the dissonance, reflect it back to the body goes, well, I want to be in tune, and it adjusts itself, and then the sound changes in the fork and becomes clear. And we're literally detangling the field that is trapping and in holding on to your light. Your biophotons get stuck and trapped out in the field when they hold on to those wounding places where you got really hurt, or something scary happened, or something sucked onto that light and trapped it in a tangled waveform. Forks come through, they shake it up, and then it like liquefies it. This is kind of just a metaphor, but it loosens it up so that the fork then can magnetically pick it up and move it. So I'm actually also moving your own detangled energy, your biophotons, and bringing that into the center line of the body. And so I am actually coming in and dropping it in to the energy center that we're focusing on. And so if it was the throat, I'd come right here and just go through the process of dropping in, and we then leave the forks over the energy center for a moment to help this all mix together into the body, make sure that we're getting everything. Sometimes you sense that it's not integrating and the tone's not really coming through clear, and I got to go back out to the edge, maybe with a higher frequency fork, and polish and pick up other little bits that didn't come in and drop that in. Or sometimes the other side wants a little balancing. So this is all part of the process of sensing what wants to happen. Each session truly is very unique. So after integrating over the chakra, the next process is what we call columning. And this is where we are opening this pathway between the front of the energy center and the edge of your biofield. And this is really all about creating a laser clear focus in the present moment. Because at the edge out here, the edge of your biofield, that's what's connected to the universal energy field. And yeah, so that's the idea. You're coming in from the edge and then columning out, extending those points, kind of stretching your biofield, expanding you out. It strengthens the structure of your whole field to have this central channel opened up and connected. Just the Earth Star Sun Star adjustment itself is pretty powerful in that it will, it strengthens your whole biofield. It gives you a sense of containment, or that there's a resiliency there, and that things, you're not going to get so caught up in all these other waves going on, all these electromagnetic waves, whether it's like synthetic from cell towers and satellites and whatnot, or just the chaos wave of fear and panic and whatever's going on the planet, all the stuff, all the things that we could get caught up in and get carried away and taking us off center and wanting us to, not be embodied. Biofield tuning is about bringing your energy back to center line so that you can have full access to your light, your energy and source, and ability to stay present through the chaos while things are shifting on our planet. And it's all about having the strength and resiliency of your biofield. As the sun is going through its changes and modulating, and it's affecting our Earth, it's affecting the Earth's magnetic field. We are in an age where it's time to understand that the body is electric, and that we have the ability to become ever more present and grounded in ourselves, in the present moment. I think I just said that. Can't say it enough. It's kind of what it's all about, is having honesty with yourself in the present moment. And all this other stuff that's causing interference between your signal, your clear signal, is what biofield tuning helps with, because the time is now. We need to be snap to it and get with this, because it's too easy to run away and escape and get out of your body and be somewhere else and go and want to run off or be. I mean, let's face it, it's a intense planet to be on, probably historically has been, is what it seems like. And so my suggestion is to understand that things break down, and there's always going to be the entropy where there's dissolution and repatterning and reorganization. But there's also syntropy. Thank you, Eileen, for that word. Let's start using this word. Syntropy is where it's coming back together and bringing in coherence, and where the pattern is reforming into something that is beautiful and thriving and abundant. So on a fundamental level, if you want to consider yourself as part of the immune system of this planet, you want to get yourself tuned up. Get all that energy flowing through you so that you can be a force. You know, your biofield itself, it's like the environment changes around you because you've changed from within. And that is resonating out to the planet. I'm getting like energy about it because it's I feel so strongly about it. I love doing this work. So I think I've covered a little bit about this. I probably went on longer than I wanted, but I'm gonna make more videos about biofield tuning, how it's helped me, how it's helping other people that I'm working with. More discoveries. If you would like to check out what it is like to experience a biofield tuning session from a distance, please do send me an email. I'm super approachable and kind of specialize in doing the remote sessions, and it's reasonable. I'm very reasonable, and I really would just want to make it available for people. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned with me, subscribe to my channel, and I will be with you again soon.